Hey everybody, welcome back to Expat Files. This is Tay Nix here, back with you again. And today I have a real estate agent, a woman that I met recently, Michele Mendez of Grupo Tribaldos in Panama City. And she's going to tell us about the property situation down there. You know, if you're an expat or you're potentially about to be an expat from North America, this kind of thing now, I feel like it's pressing on people to find the place for you if you have to leave North America. That's what we do here. We're trying to offer the best solutions and some of the best commentary on what that looks like, how that life would be. And so welcome, Michele. Thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate it. And how are you today in Panama?
Oh, very, very good. It's sunny out here. I'm really enjoying the day. And
Always
I want
hot.
to thank you. Yep.
Yes.
It's sunny all the time. Actually, it rains once in a while, being tropical weather, but it's very beautiful out today.
Sunny, hot, and humid Panama. Yes, yes.
Yes. Well, you've been here, so you know.
I know the drill. And, you know, Panama grows on me every time I go back there. My family and I were there in January. We stayed in Casco Viejo, the old port district. For those of you who don't know where that is, it's like a really old historic district and it's being renovated. I mean, you see a lot of this. Would you talk about sort of what's happening at the level of contractors developing the construction? I was there in 1999, and I mean, obviously none of that stuff existed. The skyline of Panama that you see behind Michele, none of that really existed. All of that is in really the last 20 years, and it really shows very little signs of slowing down, doesn't it?
Yes, I can tell you that Panama is one of the countries that are the most stable countries in the Latin American region. And when I talk about Latin America, I'm also including the Caribbean because Panama is in Central America. So you have to take everything from Mexico, Central America, Caribbean, and South America as well. So yes, I've been here. I was born here. I studied abroad. I studied in the United States, but I lived here all my life, and I wouldn't live anywhere else in the world. I love my country. It's safe.
Yep.
It's a good quality of life, and it makes sense to invest.
And it's going up. You know, that's the other thing is, you know, what you see in Panama, you know, you mentioned the word stability, which I think is going to be important to a lot of people in the coming months and years. There's just no question, right, that we're in a very uncertain time in world history, and nobody quite knows how things are going to play out. And nobody really knows what the so-called leadership is actually thinking. But what we see in Panama, what I see every time I'm down there, and you talked about this as well, stability comes from obviously opportunity. It comes from people having like real pride in their where they are. I mean, the people of Panama City. I was laughing because I told some of my readers in my daily email, you know, in Panama City, in downtown Panama, when people take their dog for a walk, they clean up after the dog. This is funny to me because not every place does this. And you can tell that there's a certain pride in where people live and they want the place to be nice. And you keep seeing how Panama is just continuing to, it's just exploding even still, even after 20 years, it's just exploding, isn't it?
It is. In Panama, if I would have to describe it, I would probably say it's like a mini Miami or a Latin Miami, because you see all these beautiful skyscrapers in this modern cities thriving. But also on the other side, you have, you know, a small country of 4.5 million people that still hold some traditions and families, and people are very friendly. And since we've been a crossroads for investors ever since we became a republic, we are very open to expats. We have a very big community of expats here, and even of other cultures. We have a strong Jewish culture, we have strong Hindu culture, we have a strong Chinese culture here in Panama, and we all mix and we all get along. So yep. Panama is very open to foreigners.
It's a great success story, Panama. And, you know, you can even see in the backdrop, there's cranes, right? Still building huge skyscrapers and really, really tall, big, multi-$100 million projects. Talk about what you see since you've been in the real estate business in Panama City, especially. Talk about the trend now, you know, and maybe even rewind for readers, like where are we? What does this look like? What was it, you know, 5, 10, 20 years ago? And where is this headed? I mean, where obviously after this much growth, it's pretty clear, right, that some things have obviously are very established trends. Talk about that a little.
Okay, if you look at Panama and you do a little bit of history, Panama's economic growth has been pretty much stable, even going back to the past 20 years. So we have a GDP growth that's pretty much around 6%,
Yeah,
give or take, but it maintains there. And inflation rates are below or just around 3%. Obviously, the pandemic changed a little bit that. I think it did obviously everywhere around the world. But we're already starting to go back to those numbers again, which means that the reactivation period in Panama has already begun, and it's coming stronger than ever now. If you talk about Panama as a country where you can invest, yes, you can invest here because there's a lot of advantages. We have advantages to as far as the currency, because we deal in a dollarized economy.
Right.
So we use the US dollar, and for any North American coming into Panama, just makes it easy. It's easy because there's no conversion rates, there's no devaluation on your currency, and you can project what you spend and what you want to spend, and you know the real value of it is. It's just, you know, something that's very easy to do.
It's very
Also, it's very politically stable. We demilitarized Panama in the late 1900s, just before we turned the Panama Canal over, and we were a democratic country, and it's been like that for the past 20 years as well. So people just love it here because they feel safe. Also, as far as crime,
it's very safe.
Yes.
Yeah, it is very safe. I mean, there's areas of Panama City where you do see that the development, the growth, the construction. I mean, of course, there's still areas that are really works in progress. There's parts of it where you see garbage here or there, but by and large, I mean, the city is just immaculate. Like most of the places that we go, that we went, and that we passed through while we're there, it's just an amazing success story. Would you talk about? I know you talk to a lot of expats. Especially I'm interested, my audience is interested from North America, but also Europeans, right? People are coming from Latin American countries and Asia as well. Just talk in general, what are expats? What do you hear when you talk to people who are coming to Panama and even looking to purchase real estate? What kinds of sort of message and story are they saying? Like, what are they telling you about the situation back home?
Well, a lot of expats are telling me that obviously Panama for them is a safe haven, both as a plan B to reside in or to invest. Why? Because Panama has a lot of laws that are friendly laws. We have laws for residency for North Americans and for South Americans who want to establish themselves here. With a $300,000 investment in real estate, you can get your residency in Panama. And what does that imply? That basically you come to Panama once every 2 years and that's it. So as far as an individual investment, it makes sense. If you want to think about it as an investment just to mitigate risk, it also makes sense, because right now and the real estate cycle, we're starting the reactivation period. So if you come to Panama and you get the right real estate assessment, you can find really good opportunities to invest, and you can obtain cap rates that go above 6% at present. So yes, there are a lot of opportunities. I think with the new laws that we have for residency that take effect till October 24, because in October 24 next year they'll change, they'll hike the price up to $500,000. These 12 months are an excellent time to come and invest, because we still have inventory, but that inventory is starting to gradually diminish, because we also have expats at present coming from Latin America. We have a lot of people coming from Colombia and from Argentina and from Peru who are looking to have a plan B in Panama. And it makes sense for them to have it in dollars.
Do you see wealthy people coming from Latin America also, because they're also looking at sort of, hey, Panama is a kind of neutral space that we could get to, yeah?
Yes, I see all types of people coming in. Not only the investor who's looking for the residential visa. I see a lot of wealthy people who also purchase in the beaches, who want a second home, who want a vacation home.
Right.
I know Costa Rica in North America has made a good promotion because they sell their ecotourism very well.
Yep.
But here in Panama, we have wonderful beaches. And right now, the Caribbean side, which has been pretty much kept a secret,
Yep.
is starting to develop. And I could suggest some very good opportunities there.
What is a development? What is a condo or a apartment on the Caribbean side of Panama in a nice development? It's something that, you know, if a family came from North America, what is that going for, either square footage wise, or like what's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath?
Okay, I will talk to you about square meters. If you made the conversion, it would be
1.4, I think.
by 10.
Yeah, by 10. Yeah.
Right, by 10. So for example, like a 200 square meter would be a 2,000 square foot property.
Approximately 2,000
Right.
square foot. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so you could purchase one in a top tier Caribbean project that has beach brought from Bahama and has a clubhouse and has management and everything top for around $500,000 approximately.
Okay. So it's not dirt cheap anymore, but it's still available. And these are world-class beaches. I mean, that's, you know, $500,000 for, what is that? That's you said like 2-bedroom, two bath, like that size?
No, 3. I would say.
3. So it's good size. Yeah. So that's
3 or 4 even. Yes, 3 or 4 even. Yes.
So
exactly.
good. Yeah. And on the Pacific side, there's still inventory available in various parts, right? North of the city or south of the city.
Exactly. And we have also, I mean, in the Pacific, we have a bunch of projects because the coast, or let's say the main road that leads all the way to the US, if you go by car, and it goes all through Costa Rica and all these countries and through Mexico, developed on the Pacific side.
Yes. And it passes right by these developments.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we also have mountains. If you want to have a microclimate, if you say, oh, I like Panama, but it's too humid, I can take you to Boquete.
Boquete, how's David? I have a friend who told me about that little corner up by Costa Rica. Are they building there? Is there stuff there? Or is that more homes and ranches?
That's more homes and ranches. If you go to Boquete, because Boquete developed as a second home community for the people who live in David. And that's how it started. But then we had a North American developer around 20 years ago who loved Boquete because he saw the microclimate. He saw all the production of coffee that takes place and all the agriculture that takes place around it because of this climate. And he just fell in love with it. And then he made a huge development, a master plan called Valle Escondido. And everything started developing after that. It really got important. And today, if you go to Boquete, you have trouble sometimes looking for the house of your dreams because it's become,
very popular.
Very popular.
And with good reason. I haven't been up there myself, but we have plenty of friends and good mates that say Boquete is definitely worth a look. So so what are some of the other locations both in Panama City and around? Like, what are the best neighborhoods in Panama City? If somebody wants city living, where are they looking? Where's the inventory now? Where are the deals, right? If somebody wants to get in touch with you, like what kind of per square meter kind of costs are you looking at, and what's available for city living right now?
Okay, for city living, there are a couple of opportunities. Right now, one of the newest developments, which would be the top tier development, is in Santa Maria. And they have a master plan all surrounded by this golf course that was designed by Jack Nicklaus. So it's very, very high end. Prices there can range between $2,500 to $3,000 per square meter. Also Punta Pacifica, San Francisco, which is in the city because Santa Maria is out of the city. It's like 15-minute drive across the an ocean hike.
Pacifica is nice. Punta Pacifica is very nice. Yep.
Punta Pacifica is very nice. That's where I live, actually. I like Punta Pacifica. I live in the center city, and I like Punta Pacifica because as a residential neighborhood, it's pretty small, and there's only 2 lots left there to develop. So basically, what you see is what you get.
Yep.
But Punta Pacifica also has the advantage that you see the Panama Bay, and you have this contrast of ocean and city that's beautiful, not only at daytime but at nighttime.
It's
So
nice.
you can see the lights and the ocean. Avenida Balboa, it's another place where a lot of expats reside and some invest as well.
And this is
Costa
right for those who know Panama City, or if you can see the image behind her, Balboa is the major thoroughfare. It's like a malecon. It's right on the ocean. It's Ocean Drive. It's like a big Ocean Drive boulevard. It's very, very pretty. It's like, and traffic moves. Like if you live there, we stayed just off the Avenida maybe last year, I guess, and we really liked it. Like it's actually very, very pleasant. They actually do something funny on weekends. They block off most of the highways, and there's bikers and everybody just walks. So it has a sort of laid back Latino vibe. If you go there, you kind of see, yes, it's a city. Yes, it's bustling. Yes, there's tons of stuff to do, but everybody really, really takes it easy on the weekends. It's kind of a nice tradition, I think.
Yes, it is. And you can, like, on the weekends, even in La Avenida Balboa, there's major highway there, but in the back of the buildings, in the circling neighborhoods, Marbella and Uruguay, there's a lot of amenities and services, restaurants, a lot of nightlife, very close by, within walking distance.
Costco as well. Obviously, Costco's great for nightlife, restaurants. It's just packed with that kind of stuff, even though it's a very tiny area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Costco is, I would say, the prices in Costco, if you want to invest in Costco, are probably a little bit above average, but that's because Costco is a specific
it's historic. Yeah, exactly. And it's all being renovated to be very, very nice. Everything is being upgraded. Anything that's been fixed there is brand new. So it's quite nice. We're looking at some of the places thinking, I don't know if I'd look to necessarily purchase anything there yet, but it certainly is up and coming. It's another one of the up and coming parts of the city, even after 20 years, right? You can find these places very easily. So
correct. And I believe Costco, it's continuing to develop, and it will continue to develop to a point where it's going to be one of the probably most prominent historic cities of Latin America. But if you go to like Puerto Rico, for example, it's become run down, and this Costco is coming up.
Yeah, it's true. We stayed in San Juan. I'm in Puerto Rico now. I think I told you that. We stayed in San Juan, in the old part of San Juan, which is very pleasant. Certain streets are very nice, but it's true. It's true. I mean, it's Puerto Rico's island. This is not a hub for anything. Panama City is. You have the feeling that actually the real growth is still ahead. And I know you said something. I just want to shift over to this because I would hate for listeners not to know about it. Tell me what you told me about warehouse space and, potential business and investing opportunities with the need for warehousing because of the canal, obviously, and because of all the commerce that comes through there. This really surprised me. Can you share with people what you told me about warehouse and sort of how that is as a business in Panama City?
Of course I can. When you invest in real estate, you're going to have basically 2 types of investments, right? The residential investment, which is more of an emotional purchase, or you're going to have your commercial investment, which is more of a financial investment to grow your company or corporation, or even mitigate risk if you're looking to diversify your portfolio. As far as commercial real estate in Panama, the tendency for the past years, even before the pandemic, was the logistic and supply side of it. So Panama has developed a lot of complex. For example, we have a great master plan that's called Panama Pacifico, and they have a special zoning for corporations and multinational corporations that if you settle your company there And if you rent or even buy space there as a corporation, you get some tax breaks. Because in Panama, if your source of income is not in Panama and it doesn't stay in Panama, they don't tax you. And if your source of income, if you're a corporation and your source of income does partially stay here, you still get a tax break. I think it's around 15%, but it also depends on the type of business you have. Because if you have, for example, manufacturing, there's some laws that apply. If you have distribution, there's some other laws that apply. At the end of the day, what we're looking right now, what happened is post-pandemic, is that obviously the office sector went all the way down, like in most areas around the world. It's starting to reactivate, but I think unfortunately we had a lot of inventory before the pandemic. So that investment right now is one of the slowest investments commercially to recuperate. Warehousing, on the other hand, we need new warehouses. So a lot of people, because of the pandemic, a lot of people went to warehouses, left their retail space, and decided to do an office warehouse type of business, which has worked tremendously. Also, the internet, as you well know, has also accelerated this demand. And in Panama right now, as far as commercial real estate, one of the top sellers at this point is the warehousing sector.
And what does it cost me to, how much land do I need to put a warehouse in? I'm fascinated by this because it seems like such a killer business opportunity. You look at the canal, you look at, GDP of 6% a year, you look at Panama's recent trajectory and where it's likely headed, and the fact that it's so important to the entire world that this place continues to operate. And it's growing hand over fist with residential and all kinds of businesses moving there, at least headquartering there. What is it? How many square feet of warehouse do I need? What does it cost? Do I need to build a warehouse on there? Is there, are there developers that will are people pushing this? Who knows about this opportunity as well?
Well, obviously developers know about this. They're the ones who are pushing this the most, but also private investors. We see a lot of private investors, and I, for example, in our company, in our group, we specialize in commercial as well as luxury residential. But right now, that's one of my special areas, and a lot of people are purchasing land specifically to build warehouses. Warehouses can go anywhere from 400, 500 square meters to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square meters. It all depends. But if you're looking for an average, I would say an average of around 8 to 1,000 square meters will probably be the starting point. So if you want to invest in a small, let's say in a small warehouse complex, you probably, and if you want to have 20 or 30 renters, you're probably going to have to buy 30,000 square meters.
Okay. What does that cost me to put in a 30,000 square meter complex like that?
Right. It depends on the area. If you want to be close to the airport and close more to the logistics side of it, you could see numbers from $250 to $500 per square meter. If you want to go more into Center City, then the numbers will start to get higher because of less space. It's relative. But I would try to steer people more towards outer city because that's where we have more open spaces. So the possibility of building more warehouses and obviously have more return would be in those areas.
And are they building out toward the canal? I know the logistics on the canal obviously have been in place for a long time, but are warehouses, because obviously the airport is in the opposite direction from the canal, it's basically east or south. And the canal is obviously in the other direction on the other side of the city. So are there warehouses being built still to service the canal, or most of this now is building out toward the airport where the most growth is going on, past Costa del Este and that area?
Well, I would say that more towards the airport, but on the other hand, we do have some private investors who invest in warehouses and have warehouses towards the the west area of Panama, which is Arraijan, which is Chorrera, which is a little bit past the canal, because the canal itself has special requirements and they have their institution in place and they handle their business.
How the growth is. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right, on a very private level or institutional level. But for investors, private investors, you could pretty much invest anywhere. Now, we have the expansion of the road that takes us from Panama all the way to Costa Rica in progress now, and it'll be ready hopefully by next year.
Wow.
So those lands all across there are starting to gain value.
Nice,
And,
very nice.
and if people, I was actually looking at some of those lands yesterday with a private investor who wants to rent and sell, and there's a big opportunity there, Chris. If you have a lot of foresight and you have the right assessment in real estate, and you have somebody local who can tell you, look, these are the numbers and this makes sense, sky's the limit. There's a lot of opportunities there.
What are the towns like? First of all, how long does it take to get to Costa Rica? It's about 7 hours from the
Correct.
city. Yeah.
Correct.
And so what are some of the towns, or like what are the areas along the Panama Highway there that are already maybe exist, but are going to see the most growth?
I think everything that, and we also have the metro coming soon to the west side, but the countries that have seen, the cities that have seen the most growth right now to the west are Arraijan and Chorrera, but cities like Capira, anything that's, well, Coronado, which is more of a beach resort, San Carlos, the Cocle area where the mining is taking place and where Buenaventura, the big resort hotel is, they're going to be experiencing a lot of growth also because there's an airport already established there. They don't use it. It's not been in place that much, but I do believe that within the next 10 years, it's going to gain momentum.
Wow. You heard it here. Fantastic. Yeah, no, I mean, you just covered a lot, like all the way from Costa Rica, all the way into the city, all the way to the airport. What's taking place in Panama, bottom line is, I think for a lot of people, if you think about where North Americans might relocate if they chose to buy a plan B kind of landing pad outside of North America. Panama is going to be very high on the list. I mean, there's not that many places that most people are going to feel comfortable going. And the growth story, the tremendous thing that has happened in Panama in just the last 20, 25, I mean, it was coming for a long time, but it's really gone vertical. And the residential real estate, these are seriously luxurious, very pleasant places to live. Prices are higher than they were. I wish I had bought 20 years ago, but nonetheless, right, there's still really good deals all over the place.
They're really good deals. And if I, for example, know Bogota and Colombia pretty well because I go there a lot and it's our neighboring country. If you want to get a top, let's go back to the residence for a minute. If you want to get a top property residence in Bogota, for example, you're going to have to pay double the price that you pay here in Panama. You're going to have to pay $6,000 per square meter. No
kidding. It's that expensive. Wow. Yeah. And Bogota is not even really the most expensive place in Colombia either, right? Like Cartagena, Medellin, obviously, right? Bogota is very...
I compare Bogota because it's the capital city. So if in terms of real estate, Panama still makes sense.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Obviously, it's gotten a little bit higher, I think, because of the cost of construction. Pandemic also brought up some prices, but I still think there's a lot of value here. And if you invest in real estate, you can get your capital gains. Like I always say, Chris, an investment in real estate makes sense because it's an investment that it's sound. It's not as volatile as other investments that you could look into. And at the end of the day, you can pass it on to your generations. And if you buy prime, you will always get prime. You will always have the demand.
Yep. It makes sense. What you're saying makes a lot of sense, and good quality real estate in a place like Panama. My thing too, I own several properties, different parts of the world, my wife and I, and, you know, for us, they're convenient, that some of them make a little bit of money. It's a place that, you know, you want to live. Like I buy places where, yeah, I wouldn't mind living here for a while, right? But getting in at the right time, every single time you see this, that if you're in a place, if you're in a market and you can identify something that's just no brainer, it's absolutely growing. Things are all headed in the right direction. I don't think there's many places that tick as many boxes as Panama does, because you see that whether it's for investing purposes or lifestyle or, you know, a safe getaway if things go bad in your home country, you're going to find pretty much all of that in Panama, and the place is really going up. You know, the combination of both stability and tremendous economic growth. Well, where else in the world is that happening? Almost no place. There's almost no place. So Panama is almost in a category by itself. And so just bring it home for us here, Michele. Talk about the downsides. What are some of the negatives like that people would potentially encounter? I mean, I like Panama a lot. You love it. But what are some of the things that people coming from another country like US or Canada might see as, oh, well, you know, this is a problem for me? Anything you can think of that people talk to you about?
Well, basically two things. The weather. Some people for some reason don't like humidity, and it sometimes it does take a little bit getting used to, because Panama is like almost 90% humid all year long.
Yeah.
So that takes a little bit getting used to if you're coming from the north. Obviously Panama has a dry season which goes from December to April, and it's very nice, and it gets away from that humidity. But the other thing that I really sometimes feel that people might deter themselves a little bit is that, you know, we're still Latin. So in North America, people are expect a type of services, and you can get high quality service here in Panama. But the average citizen on the street, it's going to be very friendly, but it's not going to be probably as proactive for certain tasks.
Right.
And that's
I think it's charming, but a lot of people do get frustrated, like, oh, you know, people come late, and like just the whole like laid back atmosphere.
Correct. We believe in being fashionably late.
Yes, you do get that in a lot of Latin America. It's alive and well here in Puerto Rico, that's for sure. So yeah, that's true. That's one thing. Heat, humidity, and essentially tardiness. Anything else? I mean, you know, we've talked about Panama's future. I mean, it's like, yeah, there's some downside, but it's very minor. And the future of Panama just looks so good. Obviously, I'll have your contact information here if any listeners are interested in talking to Michele about potential properties or just getting more information on anything that we discussed today. And looking at residential real estate investment or anything for all the way through to warehouses. I know you guys deal with all of that. I'll make sure that your contact info will be below this video, and also we can put it in the show notes for podcasts. Anything else that you want to share with folks about Panama and about the future, and sort of how would you, what do you want to leave people with here, Michele?
Well, I want to leave people knowing that Panama is a welcoming country for everybody, not only for the people who want to invest, but for the people who want to reside. One of the things that are very attractive also to expats who come into the country to reside is that everyone who's above 65 years old gets 25% discounts on most goods and services. So if you go to restaurants, you get 25% off. If you go to the hospital, your medical bills, entertainment, even your airfares.
Okay. Is that like countrywide, or is that just in the city, or is that designed to attract retirees, or that's just like a service and a generosity?
That's countrywide. That's countrywide. If you're a resident in Panama or a Panamanian citizen above 65 years old, for women, it's 55. So it's even for women. You can start earlier. I will start next year.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's very cool, actually.
Yes, yes. And the other thing I want to leave people with is that Panama is a country that's the hub of the Americas. Like our airline says, Copa says they're the hub of the Americas. They actually are. We have connectivity to most major US cities, and we have connectivity already straight direct flights into Panama from Canada, from major cities as well.
And to the entire world, to Asia, to direct flights to Europe, like every place comes through Panama, right, at this point. And I know the airport also is gonna, right, they're adding on to that as well, so. Seems
Oh,
like
we already had our second terminal, so already functioning.
second terminal's already in, yeah, exactly. It's huge, it's very clean and modern, everything's very convenient, it's very nice, like flying into Panama City, so, and very impressive too. Awesome, Michele, thank you very much. I don't know if there's anything else we didn't cover. Anybody listening, if you want other follow-up kind of questions or anything, please just email them to sovereign expat file or expatfiles@gmail.com. That's expatphyles@gmail.com. And I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and to all the listeners, I'm here for you.
Be in touch. Yep, exactly. Thanks, everybody. That's enough out of me. Sorry, say that again.
Hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you as well. We'll run into each other when we get back down there. Thanks again, Michele.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.